Good morning everyone and welcome to the 36th chapter of this adventure 42 times 42. And once again we are doing a live chapter in English. We are in the comarca of Baix Ebre. It is one of the southernmost comarcas in Catalonia. We are very, very close to the end of the Rio Ebro and right here by the Mediterranean. This is the town of L'Ampolla, a very small town by the Mediterranean Sea, 3,000 people approximately here. And curiously enough, we are celebrating the local celebrations here. So they are now, last night was buzzing with people dancing and celebrating. Today is going to be a very challenging chapter for several reasons. First one is we are departing a little bit later than we were supposed to. We just got here a little bit later. Second, the heat. We are right in the middle of a heat wave, so we are expecting between 33 and 35 degrees at some point in the midday. And third, I got injured just a couple of days ago. I have some pain in the ribs, so hopefully this is not gonna damage too much my rhythm. So follow me, let's see how it's gonna be. We hope that we're gonna have a very nice chapter today. We're gonna learn a lot about the river, about the Mediterranean Sea, about Tortosa, the capital of this area. So follow me and let's see how this Baix Ebre behaves and how this Baix Ebre is going, how much of a fight this Baix Ebre is going to give us to take the check on the list. We're coming out already of L'Ampolla, and from here we have a very interesting view of what it is. La Punta del Fangar. It's this arm of sand that goes into the sea. It's an arm of sand created by the sediments coming off the river Ebro. It's a changing environment depending on the wind. The dunes are going one way or the other and create this very unique type of environment. More than 6 kilometers of land that go into the sea. At the very end of this piece of land you have the lighthouse of El Fangar, one of the most famous lighthouses in this area. It was constructed during last century to guide the different ships in this area so that they don't collide against this changing environment that we have here in the delta of Ebro. We are crossing right now La Bassa de las Ollas. This is a lagoon, 50 hectares, right at the very north of the Natural Park of Delta del Ebro. This lagoon is not the biggest one in this area, but it allows you to have an idea of how this terrain was before the human intervention. And we're looking at more than 300 types of birds that they are at some point in the year passing by this area. Between those types of birds we can actually see as well flamingos. This park is filled with these bird watching stations where you can just sit down and try to get to see one of those 300 species that they are coming into this beautiful place. And just to talk about the delta, imagine that only 100 years ago this place was completely wild. There was practically no civilization. The construction of channels that they were draining the water out of the river, and also all the impact of the measures that they were taking to fight the malaria, which was a very dangerous illness happening in here up till half of the 20th century, allowed the growth of the population area, incentivized the migrations for the workers from other parts of Spain to come here to work the rice fields and the multiple agricultural exploitations that they were in the area. Right behind me we have La Torre de Camarlas. This is an example of the many defensive towers built in this area between the 10th and the 15th century, mainly to protect the invasions coming from the sea. This land was constantly attacked and under siege by pirates. So these towers allow the possibility to see the shore from a few miles inside and be able to get ready for the battle if it was necessary to. We're just getting into the town of Camarles, and as you can see here in this mural that I have right on my back, Camarles, as many other places in Tarragona and Lleida, are getting ready for the solar eclipse happening on the 12th of August, less than 1 month from now. Has been assigned as one of the observation points. It is expected then hundreds of thousands of people from all Europe are going to be driving into this area to watch the eclipse. The first one of its type is going to be a full solar eclipse around 8 o'clock in the evening that will cross most of Spanish Peninsula. It's been now 2 hours navigating the Baix Ebre, and we are in the town of La Aldea, and we are crossing through it via this green line or via Verde. These are old, everything that you're seeing here are old train tracks that they were disposed and turned into biking or walking pathways. And as you can see, there is remembrance about this route all along the way, like for example that wagon that is standing there. We got the cooperative of the rice. Rice is the main cultivation here in Baix Ebre. Kilometers and kilometers of rice of different varieties, like Senia, like Bomba, a product that has become not just the main line of income for the agriculture here in the area, but also the main element for the gastronomy. Dishes like paella, arroz negra, or arroz with bogavantes are some of the examples of this fantastic cuisine of Delta del Ebre. La Aldea has been historically very important for this region because it was a point right in the middle of different historic routes, like the Via Augusta in the Roman times or like the Camirral in the medieval times. And even nowadays it's an important stop point, with the high-speed train station being just a few miles away from here. So we're heading towards the interior of the region. As we reach kilometer 14, that is 1/3 of today's distance. We celebrate the first third of the journey by opening a bottle of beer. This is going to be the 36th beer that we share and recommend in this adventure. We go in one different country every time, and for this week we're going to go to Korea. We're going to go to the Republic of Korea, one of these new thriving countries, and we are going to celebrate with the representative of this new culture, the beer of the K-pop and the K-dramas, the beer of the new Korean generation. We're talking about Cass, one of those beers that go well with a fantastic Korean cuisine. So let's raise our bottle into the Baix Ebre sky. One very particular way that they drink the beer there is they sink a little shot glass of this Korean liquor inside the beer. And let's cheer in Korean, Ganbae, for another chapter, for another beer that we discovered together. That's 21 kilometers right now as we approach Tortosa, and 21 kilometers mean the half of the journey today. That is the Ecuador of today's journey. We make it to this half at around 3 hours and 14 minutes. I'm not sure if you can see through the fog. It's quite foggy right there, but those mountains, that mountain range that we got over there, it's the mountains of El Porch at the north of El Baix Ebre. Those mountains mark the border between Tarragona and Aragon. Those are mountains that they can range up to 1,200, 1,300 meters. You cannot just put the rice alone on the plate, you need to fill it with some of the nicest fruits of the sea. It's home from some of the best shrimps, some of the best octopus, also some fish like doradas. You can get them in here. If you go a little bit deeper inside the sea, there are the typical mussel factories, floating farms, some few miles up the coast, where the mussels are grown and collected. It's 29 kilometers already, and we made it to the city of Tortosa, the capital of the Baix Ebre. Tortosa has been historically very important. There are records of human presence from the Iberus tribes, but the first important settlement was the Roman settlement of Tortosa. That actually was the origin of this important city by the side of the Iberus River. A city that was particularly important during the years of the Reconquista, the time that the Christian kingdoms were starting to gain back territories to the Muslim Empire. Also during the medieval times, there was a strong presence of Jewish population, especially during the 14th and 15th century, up to the time when the Catholic kings of Spain decided to expel the Jewish community from Spain. And finally, very, very important as well, during the Renaissance. And due to that, every year during 5 days in July, the Festival of the Renaissance is celebrated in Tortosa. More than 3,000 people dress for the occasion, commemorate those golden years of the history of Tortosa. So as we do in every chapter, we celebrate love by leaving a little luck in one of these beautiful landmarks of today's chapter, which is in this bridge that leads us to the old town in Tortosa. So this is where we leave our 36th slot. You got the coordinates right over here. So you know, every time that you do a little adventure, doesn't matter where, trying to leave something behind. Remembering the people that you love, remembering the people that help you to get to it. So you see that little sculpture that I have right on my back in the middle of the river. It's quite controversial because it was built on top of the last standing pillar of the old bridge of Tortosa. The Spanish Civil War, most of the city of Tortosa was destroyed. In fact, it had to be heavily reconstructed after the war. So that was where the old bridge was crossing, and it was exploded in the getaway of the Republican Army. The war was over. They decided to commemorate all the fallen soldiers from the war by building that column on top of the last standing pillar of the bridge. We made it to the very center of Tortosa, and we are discovering this beautiful, beautiful old town with more than 2,000 years of history. This right at my back is the Cathedral of Santa Maria, a very, very beautiful cathedral from a Gothic style. Right at the top of the mountain we have Castell de la Suda. That is the main military compound that has been protecting the city during centuries. This Castell de la Suda has been expanded and adapted to the different types of artillery that was attacking the city, and it was the main line of defense during different types of wars, like the War of the Frontiers and the War of Independence. That was absolutely beautiful. We were capable to get inside the Reials Col·legis, which is the main building from the Renaissance, and that's actually with the where the center of interpretation of the Renaissance is located. Completely free entry, so if you have the chance, just pop inside and have a look. We're slowly getting out of Tortosa now. We spent a little bit more time that we normally spend in one city, but considering that in Baix Ebre most of the visitable and interesting stuff is right in the city, we found it absolutely necessary. As well, to mention the walls, they are, big part of them are very well conserved. Not just the walls, but some of the gates that they were giving access to those walls are as well were conserved, so you can see exactly how was the entry to the old Tortosa back in the 15th or 14th century. And as well, to mention the two romantic gardens that we got, the two romantic urban gardens that we got in Tortosa, built in the late 19th century. Check them out because you have very beautiful views. And actually in the Jardín del Príncipe you can see a collection of statues from memorable figures like Albert Einstein and Pablo Picasso. Alright, so time to build the muscle now. We have 15 kilometers left to go. There is a mountain to climb in the middle of the route, so let's try to get back on track. "37 kilometers now, and we had to cover ourselves in this little church, and we had to hide ourselves in this little chapel of Coll del Alba because the heat is so intense right now. The sun is blazing hot. It was absolutely impossible to continue. It's going to be a very intense. By now I don't even think anymore about the rip, just about the heat, surviving the heat, and be very, very careful not to pull on a muscle. Couldn't quite catch her, but I just saw crossing the road, tick, 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 a little squirrel. So you can see more animals. It's in the natural park of El Port, a park that has been protected in the 1980s. It represents the border between Catalunya, Aragon and La Comunidad Valenciana. Very rocky. You can see some protected species like La Cabra Montesa or the goat from the mountains. Also, it is the home for several types of eagles and vultures. And as we continue to walk this path, very devastating because the wind is blowing from the east, but it's blowing hot, tremendously hot. And on top of that, the sun is hitting me in the back, right at the neck. So as we run through these beautifully cared olive trees, we make it to the 42-50. That means the marathon distance is completed. 7 hours, 29 minutes, 17 seconds. That's the time for the marathon. Let's see, because I think that we have nearly another hour running to get till the end. We're trying to use those moments when a cloud covers the sun. Not the greatest idea to run on the 17th of July. It's already a nightmare. 8 hours, 20 minutes under the sun. The exhaustion is trying to be extreme. Not just that, but also massive headaches, probably because of the dehydration. You can see already the sea. You can see it's actually a very nice view from all the delta. And I wanted to mention a couple of places that we didn't visit today, but they are recommended to check out when you come into the Baix Ebre. The Covas Meravellas de Benifallet. I would translate something like the Wonder Caves of Benifallet. They were discovered in the 1960s, even though that the locals knew about the existence of these caves for a long time. They have some of the best stalagmites and stalactites that you can find in the southern Catalonia. Also a very beautiful town, Pauls. It's located inside the natural park of El Port. Beautiful place to visit and spend one day. And it's the gateway for many excursions that can be done in the area. There is as well a Camino de Ronda here in the Baix Ebre. Camino de Ronda, I think I mentioned in other chapters, it was the pathway that was built along the coast. Local authorities in the old times to be able to check out for the smugglers. This pathway has been renovated and conditioned for doing a long walking. Well, it seems we finally made it back to La Ampolla. It's been 52 kilometers altogether in Baix Ebre. You are recommended to visit. I would say El Perello, that is the next town, are some of the nicest beaches in in the Costa Daurada, and of course the towns of Baix Ebre and San Jaume de Enveja, both of them right next to where they're right next to by the delta. We are finally relaxing a little bit the muscles after the effort today. It has been yet 9 hours of discovering this beautiful comarca. We have seen the riverside, we have seen the mountainside, and now we are seeing the beach side here. A very nice comarca. I would suggest, if you guys want to explore it, maybe not to do it in the middle of July and do it a little bit more towards the spring or the autumn, but definitely what it's worth is just to end up whatever you are doing, whatever route or whatever expedition that you decide to finish it for this week. That's 36 chapters done. So see you guys in the next chapter, hopefully next week. Thank you very much. Let's keep trying.